Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Friday and it's February 10th. We have one meeting to tell you about, and that will be this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and it will be held in the Clubhouse 3 PAC, and it's the United Mutual Town Hall. So you can check that out at 2 o'clock this afternoon. A lot of great information. All right, on our show today, we have the Fit Brain Club, and we've got Grace Carpenter and Dan Daly to give us an insight to their meeting, as well as their speaker and what are some of the subjects that they're going to be speaking about. Then we have Sports Corner with Cole Young, and I'm sure he's got some good information for us for our Super Bowl Sunday, or the big game, I should say, on Sunday. Then we have the African American Heritage Club, and we have Annie McCary and Shireen Self, who are going to be talking to us about Black History Month, and that will be all the month of February. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our weather. Well, we have nice skies today, and then this weekend we're going to drop quite a bit. So take a look at these numbers: 74.49 down to 58.44. We all can't believe it. So we'll see if it actually comes true. And then 58.43, 61.49, and 57.38. Mild at the beaches, 58.48, San Diego 60.47, Santa Barbara 62.43, Palm Springs 70 with an overnight of 45, Tahoe 37.16, Big Bear 40.20, Mammoth still very chilly, 27 with an overnight of 8, Las Vegas 64.42. Do check the road conditions. They are experiencing some snow this weekend up in the mountains, and you can always find out about that at caltrans.gov. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:40, and our sunset will be at 5:31, and I found this beautiful photo in honor of Valentine's Day coming up next week. All right, when we come back, we will have the Fit Brain Club, so stick around.
At Healing Hearts Emergency Animal Hospital, we are dedicated to emergency veterinary care through high-quality veterinary services and compassion. We offer state-of-the-art diagnostics at competitive pricing. Our doctors will see and care for dogs, cats, and most exotics. In case of emergency, rest assured Healing Hearts Emergency is here for you when your primary veterinarian is closed. Open nights, weekends, and all major holidays.
Diane's Hallmark in Laguna Niguel is now an Elam's Hallmark, and we are excited to be part of your community. We have just remodeled, and you will be surprised by the wide variety of fashion and accessories, home decor, collectibles, Disney, Peanuts, Harry Potter, and Star Wars, along with the largest Hallmark card selection in town. Stop in today and sign up for our Crown Rewards program and get a free Just Because card. Once a member, you can get a free card once a month. Elam's Hallmark, your neighborhood gift store.
Welcome to OCI Care with Dr. Vyas, Laguna Woods' most trusted premium laser eye surgery and comprehensive ophthalmology center. Located in the heart of the Laguna Woods community, OCI Care specializes in laser cataract surgery, glasses-free cataract surgery, microscopic glaucoma surgery, diabetic eye checks, routine exams, and all your other eye care needs. Dr. Vyas and the OCI Care staff believe in one-on-one care and the patient-physician relationship. Come in for your appointment today for a lifetime of better vision.
Achieve a level of comfort you've never known before. The Daydreamer will take you through smooth movements and guide you effortlessly into your favorite positions. Adjust the power pillow for ideal support for your head and neck. This and our positioning technology allows for infinite relaxation. Lay back in zero gravity while watching TV and put your body and mind at ease. Lift your spirits and find your favorite daydream. Contact your local Golden retailer today.
Welcome back. Well, we have Dan Daly and Grace Carpenter here on behalf of the Fit Brain Club. Welcome, both of you. Nice to see you. And I know prior to us coming on, we've been chit-chatting a little bit about my dad, who is experiencing, you know, many of the things that we talk about. And I think this is a really good subject matter that's coming up because it talks about other people having memory loss, not yourself or a loved one, but it's someone that you might know, which is a great thing. Because I mean, I'm obviously dealing with a loved one, but you don't know who he is, and yet I'm talking to you about him. So this is the kind of thing I think this is probably what this is associated with. So what I want to do first, though, is I'd like you both to introduce yourselves. I know we've had you on many times, but many people watching don't know who you are and your association with Alzheimer's OC and the Fit Brain Club. So Dan, let's start with you.
I'm Dan Daly. I'm a healthcare outreach specialist for Alzheimer's Orange County. I've been with them for 9 years, and I mainly call on physicians, neurologists, geriatricians, but I'm also involved with the outreach as far as churches, senior centers, skilled nursing facilities, all of the assisted living facilities, memory care units. So we interact with all of the healthcare professionals, and to make them aware of all the programs and services we provide.
Okay. And what led you to volunteer with them?
Actually, I was a conservator for a good friend of mine, and he was like an older brother to me. And he had been diagnosed with early onset of Alzheimer's, and that was about 17 years ago. And as a result of that, from the time of his diagnosis till he passed was exactly 5 years. And I learned an awful lot as far as I was working at the time for a medical device company, and I'd see him 3 or 4 times a week.
Right.
And I placed him into a facility in San Juan Capistrano. So I'd go and see him 3 or 4 times a week, have breakfast with him or dinner, whatever. And after he passed, I felt like I wanted to do something in his name for Alzheimer's. So I contacted Alzheimer's, and I was on the Speakers Bureau for about a year as a volunteer. And believe me, I can empathize 100% with families and what they're going through because of all the emotional challenges, and it's a roller coaster ride.
Well, it can be a very debilitating disease, and it's not quick. It's something that just goes on for a long period of time, which is unfortunate. So Grace, tell me about yourself and how you got involved.
Well, I'm a retired educator, nurse first. My husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and we went through the usual denial stages. He's a very intelligent man. It was very challenging. For a year, things went well, but then in the end, I had to deal with his denial. And also at the same time, a neighbor's denial, which is why this topic, Help My Neighbor Has Memory Loss, is so important for us. And I was trying to get the neighbor and his wife out of denial, and it was very challenging. Now I want to volunteer, kind of in honor of Steve and John, 2 people who I worked with, and I get calls every day from the neighborhood. I'm a neighborhood captain, and we work in the neighborhood to get, it's a community. If we have to take a car away, Dan and I were talking about what we do when you got to get the keys
and that can be a really,
car.
that's a very touchy subject, because that's one independent thing that they never want to have, no matter what it is, if they can't see, if they are having trouble walking, whatever the case might be. So we just have a few minutes here. I want to make sure we touch about, I want everyone to know a little bit about you, because I think it's important to know how you get involved with organizations like this. And let's talk a little bit about, My Neighbor Has Memory Loss. Let's talk about the person that's going to be running the meeting. She's a licensed clinical social worker. Tell me about Tony.
Yes.
Tony has been with us for about 2 years right now, and she's going to talk about the wandering, which is a major problem.
Did you pick this subject because my dad, I told you, is wandering around? I mean, it was just, it's such an interesting thing that all of a sudden they have no boundaries. And they sometimes decide to take off all their clothes and wander.
That's right.
In public. That's one thing I just don't get. So this is a great subject.
Yes.
Yeah, she'll talk about wandering and the side effects of wandering. The major problem with it is the safety feature of wandering, because once they walk out that front door and somebody stops them and says, you know, where do you live? Do you know how to get back home? Once they leave that front door, they don't know. They are totally lost.
Yeah.
The other problem is that communicate with the neighborhood. You should let the neighbors know that what the status is of your loved one.
Yeah.
And that no matter the cause, no matter what type of dementia it is, they have to be aware because of the fact that there's a safety feature,
Right.
there's a security feature, and it's all very important.
Right. And, you know, I've been seeing a few things, you know, on Facebook posts. Missing person. I mean, and they are mostly elderly folks
Yes,
who
they
can't
are.
find their way home, and it's really frightening. And I'm sure there might be something that she would suggest, maybe a name tag or some
Yes.
sort of a wrist identification of some sort, so when they do happen to
Yes.
get lost. So tell me about the meeting and when it is.
Well, it's Monday, this coming
This
Monday
coming
on the
Monday.
13th, and it's, of course, Clubhouse 1 in the art room.
Okay.
It is free, and Adapt to It does the free refreshments, Starbucks coffee and all that. Mark Hochberg will play some relaxing music to get us started.
Okay.
And Tony will do the presentation. And I wanted to say that one of the important aspects of all of this is how people don't understand their smells and their tastes, and when they get lost, they might be having what we call olfactory hallucinations, and this is an issue I had to deal with in my neighborhood. They kept smelling smoke, thinking some of us were smoking marijuana, burning things, and we're like, no, but we had to call social services in.
Oh, my
And if
heavens.
everybody will write down social services phone number.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it posted, but our social services right here, 949-597-4267. Call social services.
Okay.
They helped me, they will help you.
Well, exactly, and they are a wealth of information. And then, of course, if people want more information about what we're discussing today, they can always do fitbrain.us or the Alzheimer's OC
Yes.
website. So both, you know, great organizations. Thank you both for participating,
you.
as well as sharing the information with us.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, nice to see you again. Thank you
too.
for the opportunity.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, you can always get in touch with the Alzheimer's Orange County, which is alzoc.org, or fitbrain.us. We'll be right back.
Happy Super Bowl weekend. I'm Cole Young, and the Super Bowl is probably my favorite day of the year, so I am very excited to get right into it. But I first have to mention, this is the 1-year anniversary of this show. Happy first birthday to Sports Corner. Now, I figured I'd start off by bringing you up to speed on how we got to this point in the Super Bowl. Philadelphia was the last unbeaten team this season, showcasing its dominance all year as the Eagles sprinted to a 13-1 start and locked up the #1 seed in the season's final week. The Eagles cruised through the playoffs, becoming the first team in NFL history to win consecutive playoff games by scoring 30-plus points and allowing fewer than 10 points. The Eagles took down the New York Giants and then the #2 seed San Francisco 49ers to punch their ticket to Glendale. The Eagles were led by MVP frontrunner quarterback Jalen Hurts, who threw for 22 touchdowns and ran for another 13 despite missing a few games with a shoulder injury. The two biggest factors in the Eagles' success this season were their dominant offensive line and their key free agency pickups during the offseason. The Eagles were a top 10 team in terms of fewest sacks allowed. Hurts had all day to throw basically all year long. Pro Bowl linemen like Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey led the charge up front for Philly and cleared passing and rushing lanes, which in turn created a prolific offense. In terms of adding talent, the Eagles signed players such as Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, James Bradbury, and more. These additions complemented superstars already on the defense, such as Darius Slay, Fletcher Cox, and Hassan Reddick. All of these players and more led to Philly having the #1 ranked pass defense this season, which will be a very large factor in stopping Patrick Mahomes. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, there was almost zero doubt he would lead this Chiefs team to another deep playoff run, except for me when I tried to be risky and predict the Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs, but that's neither here nor there. I'll get back to Patrick Mahomes, but speaking of the Eagles' dominant O-line, the Chiefs have a very, very good pass rush. The Chiefs ranked third in pressures and second in sacks this season. The KC D-line is led by Chris Jones, who has a tendency to take over games entirely and finished this season with 15.5 sacks. On the other side of the ball, KC has one of, if not the best, quarterback-tight end duos ever in Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Mahomes, another MVP candidate, led the Chiefs to a 14-3 record and the #1 seed in the AFC. Mahomes threw for a league-high 5,250 yards and 41 touchdowns and another 4 rushing touchdowns. As everyone knows by now, Mahomes is the master of escaping the pocket and making off-balance throws on seemingly broken plays. This will be a trait Mahomes needs to rely on facing this Philly defensive line. And a target Mahomes finds more often than not is tight end Travis Kelce. Kelce finished the regular season with 110 catches for 1,338 yards and 12 touchdowns and was a major contributor in the Chiefs' playoff wins, including a 14-reception game against Jacksonville in the divisional round. Now, before I get into my predictions, I'll go over a few of the major storylines surrounding the big game that you will hear all weekend if you haven't heard them already. First, this is the first time in NFL history that 2 brothers will face off against each other. Travis and Jason Kelce are 2 of the best players on their respective teams and will both have major impacts on the outcome of this game. Coach Andy Reid of the Chiefs is facing his former team, the Eagles, who he led to 5 NFC championships and 1 Super Bowl before taking over the Chiefs and winning a Super Bowl with them in 2019. For weeks, all analysts and networks have talked about Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Mahomes suffered a high ankle sprain against the Jaguars, but hasn't missed a game since, so we'll see how bad it affects him on Sunday. And lastly, this Super Bowl is historic as this is the first time that the Super Bowl has had 2 black starting quarterbacks. Time to make my predictions. I think that the Chiefs' experience in recent Super Bowls will help them come out quick and strong and jump to an early lead. But once Jalen Hurts and the rest of the Eagles find their footing and push out the emotions and nerves, they'll put some big points on the board. After incredible matchups between O-line and D-line on both sides, I think the Eagles will be able to take advantage of throwing lanes left by the Chiefs' defense and subpar secondary, and the Eagles will come out on top. I imagine the Eagles will win by a score of around 30-27. It will most definitely not be a blowout. Kickoff is this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. With that, enjoy the Super Bowl weekend and our last day of football for the next 6 or 7 months. Tune back in next Friday to hear my recap and analysis of this year's Super Bowl. I'm Cole Young, and I can't thank all you enough for tuning in every Friday and allowing me to host Sports Corner for the past year. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Welcome back, where we have Annie McCary and Shireen Self here on behalf of the African American Heritage Club. Well, welcome. Nice to see you, and nice to have you back on behalf of a different club this time.
Yes, thank you.
Which is kind of, I think, what all clubs strive to do, is have different types of diversity.
Yes.
But before we get into what we're actually talking about, which is Black History Month today, and for the whole month of February, tell me a little bit about the club and what it's all about.
Well, the African American Heritage Club was founded maybe 12, 13 years ago by Dr. Fran Williams. When she moved into the community, she was really excited about the community, and she wanted to put together a group of people that looked like her and also shared her values. So she formed the African American Heritage Club of Laguna Woods.
Okay, and what do you guys mostly focus on a monthly basis? I mean, of course, February is a unique circumstance, but on a regular basis?
On a regular basis, we celebrate our heritage. Like we celebrate women in history. We celebrate women contributions. Last month we celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King.
Okay.
And Sharon and I put forth an educational program where we showed a short clip of Dr. King, and then we put together a trivial question activity, and then we had a discussion about that.
Okay.
So those are the kinds of things that we do to celebrate our heritage and for the club.
And I think that's great because you know, you're part of a club that maybe you didn't think you would be part of a club at some point, but all of a sudden here you are, part of an African American Heritage Club, yet your heritage isn't African American. So tell me how you became involved.
Well, I'm a Baha'i. The Baha'is believe that all people of the world are members of the same human family.
Okay.
And my education is cultural diversity, and that all people of the world are the same human family. So I've taught that in schools, universities, colleges, 44 different countries. So when I heard about this, as soon as I moved to Laguna Woods, I immediately wanted to be a part of it.
Well, that's great, because I think as we all discover, is it doesn't really matter where you're from, what nationality you are, what type of race or religion, whatever it is. Like you said, we're all human beings, and you can learn a lot from all the different types of heritages, right? I mean, Martin Luther King is a great example. He was for rights, but he was for rights for all people, right? And many of the inventors that you're going to tell us a little bit about is for everybody. It's not just for one particular group. So let's jump into Black History Month and what it means to you guys. Well, it's for all people.
Absolutely. So, Black History Month it's important because it celebrates the accomplishments of Black Americans and their contribution to all of America, and like you said earlier, not just one particular race of people. So we celebrate because a lot of the inventions and the contributions have been left out of the history books. So a lot of people haven't been taught about the contributions of Africans or Black Americans to the country. So we celebrate Black History Month to highlight some of those contributions.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, let's talk about some of those contributions. For instance, you have listed 8 Black inventors that made our lives a little easier. Who knew?
Who knew? I don't even iron.
Well, now, Annie, some people do still iron.
I was going through this entire list the list just kept going on and on and on. So I just picked out a couple of them. Improve the ironing board. It was invented by a woman, Sarah Boone, in 1892.
Oh, my heavens. It goes that far back.
Yes, absolutely. Home security system, co-invented by another woman, Mary Van Britten Brown, in 1966.
Wow.
Traffic signals, invented by Garrett Morgan in 1923. I mean, where would we be without traffic signals?
Right.
A refrigerated truck. Who even thinks about refrigerated trucks? And I mean, people use them, but it was invented by Frederick McKinley Jones in 1940. Wow. Automatic elevator doors, invented by Alexander Miles back in 1887.
Right. That's and you never hear about this stuff, like you said. You just don't. And we forget about it because everything is so accessible to us, and we're like, oh yeah, refrigerated trucks. Well, they've been around forever. We just don't know about who invents them. The last one I want to talk about is the color IBM PC monitor and gigahertz chip.
Wow.
So that is amazing that it was 1980 and 1999. It was co-invented by?
Yes, absolutely. Mary Dean.
Mary Dean.
Mary Dean.
And the one movie that, of course, comes to mind for me is Hidden Figures, which is a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's all about 3 women who are African American, and they had a huge impact on the NASA program.
Absolutely.
And it really is an amazing film. Let's talk about, real quick, let's make sure we go through a couple little things. Maybe pick out 1 or 2 of some of the legislature that really is important today.
Exactly, yeah, and I just listed a few of those. The first Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall, he was the first African American ever appointed to the Supreme Court. Of course, the first Black president in 2008, Barack Obama.
Right.
The first Vice President of recent times, Kamala Harris. And recently, just very recently, the first Black Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, was appointed by President Joe Biden.
Right, so some good strides. Now, we're going to talk about some of the movies, and I don't know if you have seen them, but I like the fact that we're devoting the month of February to Black History Month with many of our movies, and so you want to just point out 2 of them. So The Butler, we're showing on Monday.
Yes, The Butler. The Butler is that was a difficult one for me to watch. And it was difficult for me because I grew up in the South. I grew up picking cotton. So when I first started watching it, I just went back to that time. So a lot of that movie touched me very personally.
Okay.
And so, but what the movie is about a butler a man who served in the White House for 40-some years under each one of the presidents. And as he served, and I don't want to give too much of it away because it's really an excellent movie. He served and he was able to hear firsthand the views of each one of the presidents and how they felt about the country, what their views were on integration and segregation. And he kept his poise throughout the whole time.
Right.
So it's about that, but it also has some family values in it. It's got a lot of culture in it, a lot of history.
Okay.
And it's very well played out. There's some interesting actors and actresses.
Okay.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's going to have to be, have you seen it or no?
Long time ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not
you can
recently.
refresh your memory on Monday.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And then Wakanda Forever is a popular one.
Oh my gosh, that is such a feel-good movie. It really, really is. I just enjoyed that so much. It sort of picks up where the first one left off, the Black Panther, which of course, Chadwick Boseman played, and he passed away a couple of years ago.
Right.
So, so this movie picks up with Black Panther, and it is just so exciting to see. It's all Black people, all African people in the country of Africa, all working together, all inventing stuff.
Right.
It's got action, it's got adventure, it's got compassion, it's got love. It's a really, really good, feel-good movie, totally opposite of The Butler.
Well, yes, absolutely. And then one last thing I want to mention, because we're out of time, is you had a proclamation. Just tell me quickly about that proclamation.
Yes, a couple of days ago, the Orange County Board of Supervisors issued a proclamation proclaiming February as Black History Month. And so I was on hand to receive that proclamation.
Fantastic. And I know we have a photo of that. I wanted to make sure we shared. It has all of the council
all
on,
of the council.
as well as the supervisor, Katrina Foley.
Katrina Foley, and several other African-American council people that have served on councils.
Perfect. Yes, real quick.
So the most important is unity in diversity.
Right.
Be diverse, but be united.
Exactly. Well, we're going to end with that. I appreciate both of you coming on today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And let's go ahead and take a look at our movie for today. Our movie is going to be Freedom Riders, and you can catch that today at 2 p.m. with subtitles, 6 p.m. without subtitles, sponsored by Hogue. And you have a great Friday. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Village Television at 9 a.m. Bye-bye.
Looking for a change of scenery? You don't have to play golf to enjoy all that 19 Restaurant and Lounge has to offer. From a delicious breakfast menu to our delectable lunch and dinner specials. At 19 Restaurant and Lounge, there is something for everyone. Relax with your friends and family and take in the beautiful view from our spacious patio. Or enjoy a cocktail and appetizer in our lounge. 19 Restaurant and Lounge is a great place to socialize, enjoy a meal, or simply take in the view. Join us 7 days a week and experience Laguna Woods' exclusive dining experience.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha Na Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for Peace.